Once upon a time, in a small town surrounded by valleys, there lived a young woman named Lisa. She was 23 years old and always lost in her thoughts. Lisa's mind was always noisy. Different ideas, worries, plans, and dreams kept swirling around all day long. It felt like a crowded room in her head. She couldn't focus on anything. She couldn't make clear decisions. She even forgot how to enjoy the simple moments of life. One day, Lisa heard about a faraway temple in the desert. People said a wise old monk lived there. This monk used to be a famous teacher in the city. He had helped many students learn how to empty their minds and find clarity. Now, he was old. He had left the busy city life and started living in a silent temple near the sand dunes. Sometimes, he taught visitors about emptiness and peace. Lisa felt curious and hopeful. She thought, maybe this wise monk can help me empty my mind. After many long, hot days of travel, Lisa finally reached the temple. When she arrived, she saw a small building made of white stone. On the steps of the temple, the old monk was sitting quietly. His head was shaved, and he looked completely still. Lisa walked up to him and softly said, "Master, my mind is always full of thoughts. I can't stop thinking. I want to empty my mind. Can you help me?" The old monk slowly opened his eyes and gave her a peaceful smile. He said, "So, you want to empty your mind? Come with me. I will give you a small task." He took Lisa to a small room and brought out two large jars. One jar was completely empty and clean. The other jar was full of colored water, mixed with sand and dirt. He handed Lisa the full jar and said, "Carry this jar from here to the other side of the temple and come back. But remember, you must not spill even one drop, and you must not let anything settle." Lisa looked confused, but she wanted to do her best. She accepted the challenge. She held the heavy jar carefully and started walking. The water inside was moving and swirling with every step. Monks were walking around. Some were sweeping. Visitors were praying. The wind was blowing gently through the temple, but Lisa didn't notice any of it. Her attention was only on the jar and the swirling water. She walked slowly and carefully, step by step. People looked at her with curiosity, but no one disturbed her. They knew she was learning something important. Finally, Lisa came back to the old monk and said, "Master, I did it. I didn't spill any water, but my arms are so tired, and the water is still muddy." The old monk nodded and smiled. Then he asked, "That's good, but tell me, did you see the beautiful carvings on the temple walls? Did you hear the peaceful chanting of the other monks?" Lisa looked surprised and said, "No, I didn't see or hear anything. I was only focused on not spilling the water." The old monk smiled again and said gently, "Now, put the jar down and watch." Lisa placed the jar on the ground. They both watched silently. Slowly, the sand and dirt in the jar began to settle to the bottom. The water became clearer and clearer until it was completely transparent. The old monk said, "This is the secret of emptying your mind. When you stop shaking the jar, the mud settles and the water becomes clear. In the same way, when you stop feeding your thoughts with worry and attention, your mind naturally becomes empty and peaceful." Lisa began to understand. This was the peace she had been searching for. Emptying the mind isn't about forcing thoughts away. It's about letting them settle naturally, just like mud in still water. Lisa looked at the clear water and softly said, "Master, now I understand. If I want to empty my mind, I must stop stirring my thoughts and let them settle on their own." The old monk smiled once more. The sun was setting. The last light touched the desert sand, and birds flew back to their nests. Lisa started her journey back home, but now she was no longer the same overthinking young woman. She had changed. She felt peaceful inside, because now she knew how to let her mind become empty and clear. If you liked this story, please give it a like and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories like this one. Thank you for staying with us. See you in the next story with new thoughts and new lessons. Until then, stay well and stay peaceful.